How to get an Adam's apple as based as yours? You gotta eat a lot of apples and drink a lot of water. That's what happened actually when I was a child. I ate so many apples that eventually one of the apple seeds didn't go down to my it just got stuck in my throat, and then because I drink a lot of water, like it grew, like the apple grew in my throat, and that's why I have this base Adam's apple here. Okay. During this stream, we're going to be having viewer call-ins. Very cool. D4 objection.
Hello. I first found out about you through Bosch, like probably a lot of people, and I started watching you like last week, I believe, because I found out you had a pretty funny YouTube channel. Yeah, I had an actually interesting debate discussion rather, with the people of your Discord today. We were talking about how anarchy and hard determinism are technically not compatible with each other. Like, is anarchy compatible with this like nurture versus nature type of thinking?
I don't necessarily see where the clash is, right? Because as per my understanding, an anarchist society is a society through which people try their best to abolish all forms of unjustified hierarchies, right? And I suppose in a society like that, you would have less coercive social and cultural and financial forces that exist right now, forces which sort of like, you know, push people towards engaging in certain types of behaviors. But I don't think that you can ever completely get rid of environmental factors that shape your understanding. I guess it would be, you would have a determinist sort of world where your own like personal experiences or your own personal life and the things you experience have more of a part to play in your development and the choices you make than they do right now, where sort of like broader hierarchies are very, very, very significant in a lot of people's day-to-day lives. But I still think the sort of idea of determinism could be perfectly applicable there. The forces would probably be, hopefully at least, weaker than they are right now, but they would probably still be there and still sort of like coerce people's behaviors to some extent at least. Jess, hello, hello.
I appreciate you speaking often and noticing my fan art, so thanks for that. It's really cool.
Thank you for all the very cool art you do. We can show some of it right now on stream, actually. Very cool art. This one right here, which is very cool. Very, very, very cool.
So you're an IB student, which is a notoriously difficult program, and you also stream. And on top of that, you stay politically engaged and do research on topics and make research documents. And on top of that, I'm assuming you're in a fair amount of extracurriculars. So first, I'm wondering if you ever get like burnt out, and I'm wondering how you balance all of it. Also, how do you stay motivated to be on task instead of procrastinating? And lastly, how often do you take breaks?
So when it comes to like feelings of burnout and stuff like that, having multiple main projects at once to sort of like shift your focus in between the multitude of like main projects you have going on, I feel like that kind of prevents burnout to some extent. And I also feel like the COVID thing has given me a lot more like free time. I used to do basketball and stuff as well, and that sort of balance is very difficult to maintain when you have so much, you know, like less time than what you have now during the pandemic. It's absolutely a challenge. I often find myself thinking that, you know, oh, if I didn't do this YouTube thing, like school would be so easy. Honestly, one of the biggest like motivators I have, right? There are people that regularly show up on my stream, right? That just come here and just like dedicate like hours just like looking at me speak and watching me. Like that's like insane, you know? Just seeing people like put this time in, you know, to do something that's related to like what I do and like who I am. It's like really a special feeling. What's your opinion on the European Union? I think right now, or like for a while, there's quite a bit of cringe posted on the European Union. It's true, but I think it has a lot of good potential. What's your opinion on Israel? Fairly cringe.
Also, gray, white, and black are not colors; they're shades.
I swear to God. Rose Race, do you think you can have democratic socialism along with free markets in like Denmark or Sweden? Yeah, absolutely. Like markets and socialism are fully compatible. But I don't know why you would want fully free markets. Though fully free markets are cringe, but it's possible, technically, if you really wanted to. I think that Norway and Sweden did have hugely socialist economy, but then they switched to free markets and more deregulation because their economy was suffering. They never had a socialist economy. They had a social democratic economy. Socialist economy entails like the collective ownership of the firms, which Sweden never had. When it comes to like free markets and deregulation, yeah, you can say that, of course, that garners a lot of like economic growth, obviously, but when it comes to like the quality of life, especially in our like major important institutions like education and healthcare, they've gone straight down the further we've headed down like free capitalist markets and stuff like that. So
Do you watch anime?
no, I've never watched an anime in my life. Ventaremos mil cadenas saber que romper. Sí.
That's Allende chant. Like, of course you know who that is, but it's a really good song.
I lived in Spain for a while, so I do know how to speak Spanish.
As long as you don't say like huevos or something like that, I mean you're fine.
Tienes huevos, por favor, necesito los huevos del supermercado.
Queso is
Queso.
also-
Yeah, I got bullied when I was in Spain for my Spanish. Oh my god. I love you, Mono. Hello?
Thanks for having me on. I wanted to ask about your points on market socialism, specifically how you think that would work in lower income countries.
I'm in a bit I will be able to give like I think a far better answer. But for right now, it seems like what more low-income countries should do for more like economic prosperity and economic growth would probably be engaging in large trade blocks within each other.
So for context, I'm actually like originally from Pakistan. To talk about your point about trade blocks, a lot of these countries geopolitically don't get along. So primary example, India and Pakistan. A lot of countries in Africa are probably on a similar boat. It's almost like unimaginable in my case, at least, to see India and Pakistan have an amazing, trade block alongside China. And when we do have relationships with China, we're seeing a lot of like neocolonialism. For me, the biggest thing that needs to change in policy is the implementation of global human rights.
I mean, the killer question then is, right, how do you get everybody to agree on like universal human rights?
I think one of the biggest issues that are in the way of human rights is like a breakage of trust between ethnic minorities or religious minorities or, different groups, even social classes to a certain extent. And then we see constant breakage of trust by like, they're usually not by the people themselves, by far-right extremist groups on different sides. And this breakage of trust leads to a volatile, violent environment that causes partition and long-lasting animosity. And to a certain extent, the wealthy don't want this animosity to end, in my opinion, because it keeps the workers almost ignorant to the fact that, hey, you probably have more in common with a poor Indian person than you do with a rich Pakistani person.
Hello, Whisk.
Hi. So, first to like loosen things up and like a more personal matter, I have to say, dude, like, god damn, you're handsome. Like, I'm not trying to butter you up, but god damn.
Like people often like talk to me about shit. Like they send me these Instagram posts like, how can you say like feminism is this when this is what's being posted? And oh my god, that makes my job so much fucking harder because I gotta explain that these are garbage, and then I have to explain like some theory about feminism. I have to explain that, okay, so what is this post highlighting? Exactly, this post is highlighting the image of like men being like aggressive and them engaging in more crime and stuff like that. Okay, why are men engaging in more crime? Well, it's a whole different thing, like material conditions, but also gender roles are very strong there, and like influencing that's more okay for men to be aggressive or whatever, or to go by any means necessary to achieve what they want, including crime. I'm about to die to the zombie. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I appreciate it a lot. Are you still here, Stella?
Yeah, I'm vibing.
Okay. Okay, well, anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Goodbye. Have a nice evening. Have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye.
The awkward hand wave at the end.